Good morning. So this week will be your finals. You start finals for all the other classes on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. We will be having finals like today, and deadline will be on Wednesday midnight like it always is. Everybody's going to do chapter 6. I'm going to keep it like we always have done in terms of like an assignment and the way we've done the midterm, okay? I just think it's easier. That way you don't get, taken off track or taken by surprise or whatever. It's sort of one specific chapter, and then I grade that as a final. Make sure that you don't miss it. If you're going to miss it, I'm not going to allow any makeups, and and we need to get our grades in, so you cannot miss your final. Please be conscientious of that, okay? I still have a few grades that I need to do for my laters, and so I'm pending information that I asked for, so I'll be getting that ready today. I do also need one more assignment to grade, and I'm up to date with my grades. So that's it, and remember that finals will be for us. I will assign today. Everybody does chapter 6, and then you have a deadline of Wednesday midnight, okay? So make sure that you get that in. This concludes, I don't know when the evaluations were. I think they went back in midterms, so I'm kind of late for this. So anyway, just let me know if the evaluations have already been done and who's the one that got it. I usually don't know. I hope that I got good evaluations. If I didn't and there's recommendations that you have, please make it specific to the curriculum and the class, not about personal, right? Not about me personally and whatever. It has to be about that. Remember that I try to make it as simple and as easy as I can. It is sort of a pace that you have to sort of learn on your own, in part because you guys never show up to teams. I usually just have one teams. I usually do 2, but it's been so discouraging that I've had so few students showing up that is just really discouraging to have a second one. For those of you who did join me for teams, thank you so much. And as you know, they're very explicit. There's a lot of information and there's a lot of stuff that I know that I can tell you, but if nobody shows up, well, then it's hard. So try as best as we can to do this online. I try to make it as easy as is possible and as painless as possible, and have to really try to not have you spend a lot of time with my stuff, so that way you could optimize your other classes and spend time studying and really internalizing all your stuff for medical. My classes are important, but they're not as important as those, so we need to get through it. And everything that we review is basically, except for business communication, is based. Even business communication is a lot of stuff that you've seen in lower grades, okay? So that's why I do my classes the way I do. And then of course online, so we're blessed that we can take these online. If not, you would have to come to my class, and so let's just be grateful for what we have and the ability to be able to do these classes online. And then that way you optimize whatever time you have for other people. And then this is just a really different platform, and so it helps you to really diversify your ability to learn and diversify to be able to learn your platforms. Everybody understood that you come to YouTube and then you go back to SU, and so you learned a lot, okay? And whether you believe it or not, just about management, just about time, just about different platforms and what is expected, and being able to understand the instructions, take notes, and being able to understand what is required of you. So I sure enjoy always our terms. As I always tell my students, it has been an honor to have you. I feel that we have a sacred contract. And so, we were destined to be here, and for whatever reason, you got me, okay? Whether it be because you needed an A desperately, right? Or that, there's something that I said that really triggered you, that maybe, made you reflect on your life and maybe improve it in some way, and understanding how to optimize your life and show up for life. So whatever it is, or maybe it's a combination of things, I hope that I enriched your life as you all do every term for me. So I love my students, and that's part of the reason that I teach. And when I'm at the market, I have some students come up, and it is just a delight to see them, okay? Know that I'm here to help you, whether it be a dream or, dream interpretation, or whether it be a legal matter having to do with contracts that you didn't understand, or, whatever it is that you need help with. know that I'm here. I just don't do really well with letters of recommendation. So my apologies for those of you who asked them and I haven't gotten to them. It's been my intention to get them. So I'm not really good about that, and I'm probably not the best person. But if there's anything else in terms of whatever it is that you need when you're sort of like really having a hard time in life, or wanting some advice of some sort, or contracts to review, or things that you just sort of don't think are like, checking, right, or coming up, then feel free to reach out to me, okay? I think that concludes it. Thank you to Ms. Ponce again, and thank you to Ms. Curola for doing the time stamps. It really, really helped, as well as stating anything particular, like, deadline this time, or, it's going to be open at this time or whatever. So you guys do really well, and I want to thank you and commend you for all the help that you've given me. And of course, our students are probably really happy about that as well. I think that concludes it. Remember that the final, is going to be, the deadline is going to be on Wednesday. And before we begin, I just want to thank you. It's always a pleasure for me to have served you as your teacher. It's always a pleasure and an honor to serve you and to be your teacher. I believe in sacred contracts, and so I believe that we were destined to be, whether it be because, it was something that I said that sort of propelled you to have a better life, or review your life, or optimize your life, or whether it was just a very desperate 100 that you needed in order to really balance out your GPA or sustain it and maintain it. So I hope that I helped you in some way or form. I hope I did. That's why I do this, and I do this for my students. So namaste. It was an honor to have you. So let's get going. I did a little fortune cookie. Let's see what we get. Let's see. And then it says here, they fail and they are alone who have not striven. Okay, sorry. I obviously do not know how to read. They fail and they are alone who have not striven. So if you do not strive, right, of course you're going to fail and you're going to be alone. But if you strive, it's never a failure and you're never alone. And you just need to work harder, okay, or learn. Any type of failure is not a failure. It's just part of the process. And it's part of the process to be able to get better at whatever it is that you're improving, whether it be your life. A lot of people say, I failed, I have a divorce. No, it's just growth, okay, and that's it. And it's just growth, and that's it. So nothing is a failure in life ever, 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 unless you give up. Then if you give up, just roll over and die. But we are not here for that. We're here to optimize our life, and we're here to grow. And remember that life is school. School is not life, but it is through school that we master, that we master what we need, at least in terms of profession, and also with self, right? We learn a lot about discipline and showing up and stuff like that. So strive, and remember that the only limitations you have are the ones you set, okay? Let me pick one of my oracles here and see if I have something really neat. Hold on. So I have this right here. This is called Work Your Light. And so this is about protection, call back your power, cut cords, soul retrieval. So this is about releasing everything that does not serve you, and know that you're protecting, and know that you have extraordinary power, okay? Don't give it away. Alrighty, so we are going to begin with business communication, all right? Business communication is going to do chapter 6, all right? And you're going to do page 177 through 178. Objectives 6.1 through 6.16, and questions 1 through 19. So questions 1 through 19, pages 177 through 178, objectives 1.1, 6.1 through 6.16. Okay, so that's it for business communication. English 145A500 and English 145A501 are going to do chapter 6. Remember, same deal. I think there's practices, exams, quizzes, anything that the chapter asks for you to do, just get it done. You have the answers. I had a student one day for English 145. They were complaining how busy it was, and it was so much work, and this and that and whatever, and complained. They went to my director and complained, and it was just horrible. And then we finally had a video chat. I'm like, okay, let's do the video chat. Let's do it. He hadn't even seen the chapter. When he sees it all, and he's like, he felt so bad. He's like, oh, miss, I didn't know. I said, yeah, if you would just check the chapter, you know. So anyway, all right. So for those of you who said it was a lot, it was a lot. I don't know that it was, all right? Especially when you have the answers. So make sure that you get chapter 6 in, all right? Anyway, okay. And so for English 133, let's do chapter 6. This is long, so let's get it done, okay? So page 283. Remember that I'm using a hard copy, so it might be off in terms of pages. So you have your vocabulary review on page 283. And then you have vocabulary at 289. Then you have vocabulary enrichment on page 299 through 300. And then you have vocabulary enrichment on I think it's 309. I don't understand my scribbles. And then on page 388 it's vocabulary, and then on page 311 it's personal feedback, and then on page 313 it's part 1 review, and then on page 314 it's part 2 review. Okay, so let's start again. So chapter 6, vocabulary review on page 289, then vocabulary on 298, then vocabulary enrichment on 299 through 300, and then you have vocabulary enrichment on 309, and then vocabulary on 388, and then you have personal feedback on page 311, and then part 1 and part 2 on page 313 and 314. So that concludes it. Remember that your finals are due on midnight Wednesday, and that concludes it. Namaste, love and light.